thankfully, he's like Batman because he's got all this money. Like you can do all this stuff. Like, leave the house behind.
That's true. Literally everything.
Just give you money enough to buy a picture that I don't need, and then like, here's my boat.
Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here talking about Carnival Row. Season 1, episodes 7 and 8. Our final 2 episodes of the season, The World to Come and The Gloaming. We're also going to be talking about speculations for Season 2.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which has been, it has been renewed.
Yes.
It's due out in the summer of 2020.
That's coming up.
Right. Like any second now. Interestingly, I saw they have a new showrunner. Their showrunner departed, I'm not sure in what terms, but they picked up the showrunner from Daredevil.
Oh.
Actually, is the new Carnival Row guy.
Showrunner.
All right, so
we'll pin it down.
Right guy. Okay.
By next year comes around, we'll tell you who.
Yeah, put the thing under there. The guy. A showrunner
that guy,
from
he's
Daredevil.
very talented.
That guy, wow, thank goodness that guy's doing it. So, yes, any case, they are moving full speed ahead, and as you can see by the end of The Gloaming, they have set up some cliffhangers to, we've got more to tell.
Yeah.
So, to jump into where we left off with Philo being arrested.
Yes.
He's a murderer. Not really, but they think he is.
Yeah.
And so he gets put into jail, and because they think he's rightfully think he's a half-fake.
Yeah, that he is guilty of.
Yeah.
So they beat him up and everything.
They throw him into the human cell, thinking he's going to get beaten up, and he holds his own.
He's only human.
He's then let out of that cell and put into the Fae cell. This is kind of the first of his... There's a few different moments in these last 2 episodes where he declares he's with the Fae.
Yes.
This is one of them, and where he's put in with the Fae.
Yes.
Soon thereafter, the woman who kind of got him in trouble, Portia, his girlfriend, she is like, "Oh, terrible! I'm going to try to undo what I did." So she goes and talks to the look, no, I just made it up.
Yeah.
So really? All right. Well, fine. If he says he's a human, then great. So there's another chance for him to get out easy.
Yep.
By saying I'm a human, and instead he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm half Fae." Just to cap that off, the last bit that he does when he announces what side he's with is at the very end. There's a quarantine. Oh, we're only Fae. You're only allowed past this point. He's like, "Well, I'm half Fae."
Yeah.
So he's on board.
Yeah, he's right there in the concentration camp, and even his beloved Vignette was like, "No, don't do it, no." But no.
Well, you can understand too why he would do that because
sure.
he did it once before.
Yes.
He left her and he regretted it.
Right, and also too, I mean, she seemed to. She was like, "Oh, I'll be okay. I'll just fly away," and somebody else tries to fly away and they get shot. Like, oh, geez.
Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll wait till nighttime. Anyway, so all right, we'll come back to that. But so he's in prison. He eventually gets taken away with a black bag over his face, and looks like bad times for him. They told the bag off. It's the guy who is his dad. She doesn't realize he's a dad at that moment.
No.
It's Absalom, the chancellor.
Yes. I almost said Price.
And I just, there's other stuff that happens in there, but
You know what I said?
Yeah, it's Price.
Yeah.
Good point. There's Mr. Robot. Then there's Elliot.
Right, but no, it's the person who's the father, who's important business guy. It's like
point.
It's a similar role.
Right, because Angela didn't know. We're Mr. Robot here. Angela didn't know Price was her dad until he announces it. In a conversation where she ends up dying. But okay.
Right here they flipped it.
They flipped the script. Yeah. Nothing else happens. No. Okay. We see more that the Puck cult is, percolating.
Yes.
That comes to a head by the end of the season, where they're kind of full-on riot mode.
One of the Puck there, the former bodyguard for the Absalom guy there.
For Jonah.
For Jonah, right. He becomes John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, he even does almost a very similar line with the so it is with tyrants or something like that. That's the line that John Wilkes Booth says when he jumps onto the stage. Anyway, it's the Latin version of that. But, so yes, he attempts to kill Absalom. We're jumping around here, but that's fine. So he stabs him a whole bunch of times and doesn't kill him.
No, that doesn't kill him. No.
So his attempt to lead the revolution by killing off the chancellor, which, by the way, is a little odd. I'm sure they have good reasoning for what they're doing, but that's the guy that's actually supporting the inclusion of the Critch.
But the theory may be to ratchet up the antipathy between the two. So anybody who's on their side, if they kill them, they're like, oh, see, we're justified in being bigoted against them.
Right.
So, it's sort of like some...
make you want to come hit me.
He might be seen as not a collaborator, but someone who's making it worse.
Yeah, or just the status quo sucks. He represents the status quo. Yep. Stab him. And don't kill him.
Stab him a bunch of times.
Stab him a dozen times, but all in non-vital spots.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that for a second. So Absalom is critically injured, but not killed at that moment. Meanwhile, we see that Jonah and Sophie are having a tryst.
Yes.
And
until he finds out about her.
Right. So I did look this up just to be sure. They are indeed brother-sister through Sophie's dad.
Yeah.
But so in other words, Sophie's mom was somebody else.
Yep.
And in the case of Jonah, his mom is Piety.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So ding ding ding. They're half brother-sister.
So it's not like he's not a son of what's his name?
Well, he's not a son of Absalom. He is not genetically connected to Absalom. No. He's genetically connected to Piety and genetically connected to the arrival. I'm forgetting his name. Sophie's dad.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So because there's that scene where Jonah says you always were letting me do stuff because you thought I wasn't the true heir. You didn't realize, you didn't think I was your blood.
Okay.
And Absalom's like, I kind of doubted that, but you're right, son, not son.
Okay.
For a while, at least, when he realizes they're brother sister, he's a little reviled, but then he's like, that's fine.
I don't know that they had any relations after that, though.
Yeah, good point. But I mean, they're
connected
politically, for sure.
But they haven't had any relations after that.
Okay, all right.
I don't remember. But yeah, they're about to probably be wed.
So Sophie has, obviously, she's revealed to be this very manipulative Machiavellian character. So we've got Agreus and Imogen. Ezra is not pleased that they are having a relationship. He tells Agreus that he should cut it out. And Agreus is like, hey, I'm not socially accepted yet, so until I get what I need out of this, the contract stands. He then, though, they are invited to somebody's house. Anyway, they get, he's starting to get acceptance.
Yeah, he gets invited to someone's house, and so once she finds that out for some reason, she decides to visit him.
Yeah, right. He's got the painting that he purchased at the auction, which is relevant because it's got this horned, version of the devil kind of thing. There's a sense of is that you and I? Or is that our relationship in painting form? He shows her something that I think is going to be important for season 2.
Yeah.
Which is a light.
Yes.
He has electricity in his place.
It's interesting to me that a number of shows like to play upon how the future gets introduced, how modern technology and modern things get introduced to older shows. So he's the visionary because he imagines, a world of technology, basically.
Right, and he correctly is like, imagine all the streets being lined with these, I don't know if he calls them lights, but anyway,
right.
Yeah. So he's got
at that point that they consummate their relationship.
They do. So
nothing like electricity to turn
that's
someone
right.
on.
Ta-ta. It's electric. So yes, they are having a full-on sexual relationship.
That for some reason her brother gets interested in.
Yeah, so the brother starts suspecting because she was out, or she claimed she was out. Anyway, so he figures it out. He pretends, I'm going to be gone for a while. Then he comes back, I gotcha. Yeah. So they're having another reunion, illicit thing. And
the interesting thing to me is how the Puck's manservant, human servant, is trying to discourage him because it's like, come on, you know how bad it is, which, just makes, when the next time they meet, she practically has to force it out of him.
Right. He does that thing that I'm not a big fan of in TV and movies.
Yes.
I'll send you away by making you really think I don't like you.
Yes, but I think they were clever in when he was very particular in how he did it, and also that she didn't then take it to heart.
Right.
It was like, okay, we're gonna, yeah.
She's like, you don't mean it.
Yeah, we're gonna dispose with this now.
I appreciated that they didn't then carry that through to another season or something.
Yeah.
He actually doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Don't pull the Tyrion card.
Right. Right. And you could argue that it's showing you, the audience anyway, that she's smarter than she's allowed to express. It's like she's been having to let her brother run things badly. And she starts to take command of how the family is getting money, and then she sees someone who's a visionary, and in her interactions with him, she has a sense, and he often tells her about how she's behaving socially and whatever, and so she's understanding too. She tries to be particular in what she does socially to get higher, and then she starts to think, it's not really amounting to that much, like what's the point of it? And so when he's trying to push her away, she's smart enough to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah, I agree. She definitely shows a lot more
acumen.
Yeah, in these final 2 episodes. And so Ezra shows up with a gun. He's gonna shoot Agreus. She saves him, and then Agreus headbutts him or something.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, you've injured a guy, a human that's an acceptable human who will certainly file charges against you. It's time to get out of Dodge.
Yes.
And so they do.
Yes. And
they are basically they escape the city before the city goes on lockdown. Yes. And so as we come up to season 2, we'll talk about this in a second. But they're the 2 people outside the city at this point. So where did that story go?
Although it's like, thankfully he's like Batman because he's got all this money and you can do all this stuff.
True.
Leave the house behind.
It's true. Literally everything.
Just give you money enough to buy a picture that I don't need, and then here's my boat.
Well, it's and then Ezra even talks about how he made his money. Like, you made your money capturing other Puck. He's like, yeah, well, it was a job. I'm like, is that how you made that much money?
Yeah, it's really a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Damn. He has basically monopoly money.
Yeah,
So,
Bruce Wayne money.
Bruce Wayne. So, back to the mystery at large. Obviously, we discover that the person who's been pulling all the strings, other than Sophie, is Piety.
Yes.
She sends the Dark Asher after the witch woman, and the witch woman stays alive just long enough for Legolas, for Philo to show up at the witch's place. Like, hey, we should go talk to her. She
dies, and they come up a way to just last. Yes.
So everyone's getting clued in. I guess the liver idea was the idea that your memories get stored in your liver.
Yeah, there you go.
Science.
Yep.
So
hook up a light bulb up to it.
That's why she was taking livers. Piety was trying to figure out who this person of prophecy is.
Yes.
Supposedly, Absalom's son would come to be greater than Absalom himself.
Yes.
I guess that means in prominence. And so she always assumed it was Jonah until she got this letter mysterious letter from someone trying to like blackmail her or something.
Well, we can say now it was Sophie.
It was Sophie, right? And so Sophie set all this into motion, and is apparently a genius.
Yes.
Like freaking.
Well, she states that she's really for chaos, really, and so for a plan like that, you don't want somebody just to bundle in, like, okay, if I can just make sure my son gets the promises. Well, no, here's some chaos to screw that up.
Yeah. But it seemed like she knew about Philo in some way. She knew the prophecy. She knew that Piety would care.
Well, she didn't necessarily know that Philo was the person, right?
I don't think she knew about Philo.
Right,
but
is
that
that
Philo
there's an illegitimate son.
Somewhere.
Right, and perhaps she didn't know either that...
I guess she knew that Jonah wasn't legitimate.
Right.
That's what she knew.
Right, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, Jonah can't be the kid of the prophecy.
Right. Well, she didn't... Would she have had... I don't think she would have had to know... Because he just wanted money.
I guess
so. She didn't have to know that he's part of the prophecy or anything.
She just kind of lucked into that in some ways.
Yeah.
In terms of like, and it ended up with Piety dying.
Yep.
Yay.
Well, I mean, lucked into her father dying and then being able to get involved with Jonah because Jonah's parents end up dying. Right. So that ends.
Well, she could remember earlier on, like in episode 6 or something, she says something like, your only thing holding you back are your parents.
Right, exactly.
Which is like, so then did she figure it out that like this will lead to the death of your parents? It seems a little far fetched. But.
Well, I mean, to the saying that you're in this position, and then she causes chaos again. I think it's better not to see her being Machiavellian because that's that strains credibility.
Okay. All right. There's you could look at it through a lens of wow, she was like very prescient. Or she just
she's opportunistic.
She threw a wrench in the works, and the wrench went, and the machine fell down.
Exactly.
But yeah, so she's the one that kind of started this whole thing where, oh my God, there's another son, an actual son, and so Piety begins to. She's killing people connected to this unknown son, Philo, so that she can.
And
presumably, eat their livers?
Probably in order to get to him, because she doesn't know who it is.
Right.
So in order to get to him, she has to kill them and get the livers so she can get the information and finally figure out who Philo is and then kill him.
It's their USB data
exactly,
port.
Exactly, right.
All right.
Or their trill.
Very good. Okay. So she's closing in on the secret. Absalom is bedridden, having been stabbed a bunch. There's a scene with Absalom and Jonah where Jonah's like, "Yeah, you knew that I wasn't your son." And, God damn it! But Jonah doesn't kill him in that moment.
No,
maybe he's gonna do something bad.
There's no moment that he kills him.
There's no moment, but I mean, like, there was a little moment where it's like, "Oh, is Jonah going to be some big villainous guy here?" But he wasn't.
No.
A scene or two later, Piety. And so she kills Absalom to get his liver to figure out, and she gets closer to.
Yeah, and it was interesting that action because it's like I'm gonna get that information, and you're killing him, but it's like, oh, I forgot about the trill liver information. So yeah, you are gonna get that information.
Well, it's also one of those things where there's that trope of person who is in this case an invalid because he's been stabbed so much, but like person who's incapacitated in some way in the same room with the criminal, telling the criminal they're the criminal. Yes. You're like, how do you think this is going to go?
Yeah.
Maybe keep that to yourself until later when you're not in the same room with them.
Well, he thought that he had some information that that I can keep this a secret, but I'm not going to tell you the thing you want to know. So obviously you're not going to kill me. He doesn't know that she's taking livers and getting information. He doesn't know that.
I'm just saying, maybe don't toy with the criminal that could kill you at any moment.
He's telling her, like, look, you have to be accepting of this situation. And
have to.
Yeah.
Criminal.
Right.
She's like, yeah.
Exactly.
No. The other thing I can do.
Exactly. No. I mean, because he's not gonna cast out his son.
Right.
So that's what she wants. She wants her son to be ascension, the power that he has.
Yeah.
So he's be fine with that, but no, she has to destroy him, and so she has to get the information.
So Absalom is dead. Piety now is on to Vignette, who then she arranges to kidnap. Vignette was still in prison.
Yeah, but the ploy is so that she, the whole superhero trope where if
he must come
Lois
to save
Lane,
you.
yes, exactly.
And so Philo indeed is coming to the rescue.
Yes.
The Dark Asher shows up. He temporarily kills the Dark Asher. And then in that moment, I was like, okay, you know that they can't die.
Yes, he does. He should know.
Proof.
Yeah. He didn't really care for his minion, so just put her in a jar.
Yeah.
So the jar could be like, no, do it.
So he's like, oh, I chopped off the Asher's head in the door. I'm sure.
Yeah, that'll be
totally
that's
fine
it.
now.
Woo.
I'll just walk with my back
Yeah.
to what? And so the Asher's back. There's a big fight scene that goes on. He's basically just trying to stay alive.
Yes.
And Vignette stabs Piety through the head.
Yes.
So she is quite dead.
And so is her,
creation.
Her creation, yes, her sire.
So the Dark Asher dead.
Dead Dark Asher. Dead Asher.
We also see that Jonah has taken on his tutor, becomes Runyon, the guy who was doing the puppet show.
Yes.
Who knew Philo's
mother.
Mom.
Yeah.
And so then when Jonah, after the Chancellor dies, because it's a weird... the rules are, the son of the Chancellor becomes Chancellor. I guess it's like a kingship.
Well, yeah, just the same thing happened to, Sophie, so...
Right. But it's usually like a king and not necessarily like a parliament situation.
Right, yeah, so that's this isn't America.
This isn't America.
Or the world.
England, So as son of Chancellor, he becomes Chancellor, and he then takes Runyon on as his advisor, which is very interesting, I think, because it seems like it's going down the road of Sophie and Jonah will be evil power couple.
Yes.
One of the first things they do is do this quarantine to deal with the Puck menace.
Yep.
But the inclusion of Runyon makes me think that might not be the case. So we'll talk about that. But we'll talk about season 2 here in a second. So just to finish off, Piety's dead. Absalom is dead. The Dark Asher thing is gone. The menace is gone. The witch who could make more Dark Ashers is dead.
Yes.
Philo
Both witches.
Philo is publicly declared to be half Fae, so he is no longer a cop.
Right.
He's also in the ghetto, the quarantined area for the Fae, for the Critch in general.
Yes.
Imogen and Agreus, maybe that's how you say his name,
yeah.
are on a boat.
Yep.
I think Ezra knows they're on that boat, so he might go try to follow them, but we'll talk about that. And Jonah and Sophie are kind of our co-leaders of the town right now. Is that generally the... I mean, I'm missing stuff, but that's generally where we leave off. So, season 2. What do you see for Agreus and Imogen in terms of how they fit into the story? Is it just going to be like, hey, we're in the Berg, and now we'll say what's out in the other lands? Is that the way they're going to do it? Are they going to come
I would
back,
assume they will. I mean, because right now the rough approximation to our world is England and I guess it would be India. I don't know.
Or Ireland. I mean, they had the Irish immigrants.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Right. So there's India and there's other, lands that England was associated with that they could also.
Well, there's a land of pucks.
Yeah. Right.
For instance.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because that's not the land of the Fae that was being taken there. So yeah, maybe that's India. Maybe the pucks are India.
Sure. So in other words, do you think it'll connect it all to like the story of Vignette and Philo, or will it just be like its own separate thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think Ezra will be part of that. The conflict will be Ezra's trying to find them, I think, is my guess. And maybe they're trying to always escape Ezra.
Why do you think that?
I just feel like there's a conflict. Otherwise, they're just like, oh, we're happy now.
No, right, but I think it might be like, how is he keeping all his money, basically? Maybe, it's like maybe some of it's there and he can't get access to it. So, or...
he has infinite money.
Either they'll live in a boat for forever, or they have to get, supplies and things like that. That's what makes me think it's be some other world there. So rather than having to escape... he barely has any resources.
I get you. I just feel like a vengeful Ezra will at least somehow get like the government or something to get that boat back. That guy assaulted me and he kidnapped my sister or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like their concerns will be what's for him. He's gonna need to either maybe he gets the resources of the pucks who are in the maybe he gets that and that'll help him out. But I'm not sure what he has to contribute other than
being Ezra.
Ezra, danger to them. So, I mean, I think more importantly is what happens with Sophie and Jonah, because one thing we know about both of them actually is that their hearts aren't politically into this whole oppression of the Fae and the pucks and all that.
True.
So it's politically expedient, and obviously a passionate, bigoted populace can be quite powerful. But I'm going to suggest that's not sustainable. So I think be a question of whether or not they either one try to. Maybe it'll be war that allows them to keep on with that, ratcheting up the...
I do feel like Runyon is identified as a moral character who also has the Fae's interest in mind.
Right.
And so if he's advising Jonah, either he's going to have an effect, and Jonah will be like, oh, you're right, I shouldn't be a dick, or whatever. Or, like, it's going to be put Runyon in danger.
Right.
And that part of the intrigue will be, can Runyon keep doing what he's doing not, does he get imprisoned or something? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think, I don't know, obviously, but it makes sense to me that putting all the Fae into this one area, it should not be throughout the rest of the season, the second season. Maybe have a registry or something like that, although I guess they kind of were already. They could only be in the city if they had permission to be in the city, and if they did anything rules. Bad. Yeah, so I guess not really much room to ratchet that stuff up.
Well, here's the other little wrinkle in this is that now Jonah, he was the one who figured out that Sophie had blackmailed his mom originally.
Right.
So he knows there's a son out there. I think it's pretty obvious that he knows that Absalom had an actual son who would be the actual chancellor.
Right.
Who has a lot of potential power. Could we see a situation where Jonah is trying to track down Philo and do him in?
I mean, it didn't seem as if he had the same attraction to this whole prophecy stuff as
if Sophie kind of pushing him on this, maybe.
I don't think she had it either. Okay. I don't think she knew about the prophecy, and I don't think you didn't see anybody talking to her ear about it. All this.
I'm just saying you've got a very obvious plot point, which is the actual son of the chancellor is supposed to be chancellor, and the guy who has no blood connection with Absalom as the chancellor.
Right, but right now. It's like, who would even care?
Yeah, he's a half-Fae.
Yeah, he's a half-Fae. And no one knows about this affair in the first place, so, I don't know why he would be...
But also the prophecy, I assume, is going to come true. Will it come true in season 2? I don't know. But somehow Philo is going to become this incredible, like the chosen one style thing. He's a very important person.
Right, I'm not willing to, right now the only person two people who believe that are dead. No one else around is talking about that at all. So until somebody comes back, I'm only satisfied. What I would prefer is that it was merely Piety's motivation, and that now that he's dead, maybe he will end up being important. But that's so vague. Thank God. Yeah. Like that's so vague that all
could be anything. Like you know what? You helped someone across the street. Well, that was important.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Nice job, important
yeah.
person.
So the fact that it was important to Piety enough for her to do the things she did, I'm fine with, and the fact that her dead, the fact I don't need anybody else, and I think there's enough going on in the world without having to, have him being important other than the way that he was.
Okay.
I mean, if he obviously he's the star of the show, but the fact that anybody else should think that, yeah.
Now, will he be accepted? I mean, he's put in his lot with the Fae, but he is a half Fae.
Right.
Is it possible that while he's made his choice, that he still might, from their point of view, he might still be like, oh, you're still half human. I don't know. I mean, like, in other words, will he still have trouble fitting in?
I mean, what should happen is that this whole thing about them being in a concentration camp should be very short-lived.
You think it's short-lived? Okay.
I think it
might
should
go
be.
on for a while.
Right, and I'm saying that I think that'll make it harder for them. I mean, at least for a couple of episodes, sure, but
Okay.
I think it's better off if they're not in there, because what stories are going to have? I mean, Catch-22 or,
Well, for instance, I can imagine
Stalag 13.
in the situation I'm thinking of where, Jonah, Sophie, whatever, decide that we need to find this guy who's the actual heir and either imprison him or do something, that he's trying to hide in a very small space. That Philo's like, oh, they're after me, but I can't get out of this quarantine area. And so they're going to find me eventually unless I can get out of here or something. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way you're thinking of it, it's dependent upon.
Yeah, I got it. No, there's no theories there. It's all facts.
No, but I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, the whole world is a problem. I mean, other nations that might have
the pact. I mean,
right, exactly.
They've got to almost have to show up somehow.
Exactly. So you could decide that, especially if you wanted to have some of these Fae fight on behalf of the nation. So I feel like.
You think they might reunite over a common enemy, being, say, the pact or somebody?
Perhaps, yeah.
So
yeah, it doesn't seem like, I can't imagine. I mean, I might be wrong, but it just seems like that's there's not as many possibilities. Maybe we see.
Here's a way that you break the quarantine: if the pact comes along and lays siege to the burg or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, screw it. Let's just, guys, we need to figure this out. We're all gonna die otherwise.
Right. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully their current situation will change, only because I think there's probably more.
Plot possibilities.
Yeah, plot possibilities if they're out. It just seems very limited.
What about Vignette and?
But we
Philo?
don't know. That's why I think they need to bring other nations into it and see. What, Vignette and Philo? Yeah, exactly.
Are they destined to be star-crossed, or do they we're united now? That's not a problem anymore, and that's never an issue. Or is it still going to be a thing where it's
if I had to bet,
there are more important
I
things
think they would. I would expect them to still make obstacles in their way.
Yeah.
And I think that's lazy writing. I think it's possible to have a couple be separated and be together and not have to always be worried about what's gonna break them up this time or whatever. Yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen. But if I had to put money on it, I'd say it's probably even though right now they're everything that was keeping them apart is now gone.
True.
So and he gave up so much now to be with her.
Right.
So it's and one of the things they set you up with at the end of it was a vignette. Sort of after initially thinking maybe she's going to rekindle her relationship with
Tourmaline.
With Tourmaline. Just sort of said, I mean,
unless you could have Tourmaline be some kind of a Iago type figure that comes in and tries to corrupt their relationship because she's secretly, not so secretly, is kind of infatuated with Vignette.
Right, but the way they set her up, the way that she has stepped in between them, you could see it was good intentions, and she did not, it seems like she's had opportunities to be more Iago-ish or whatever.
Right. She was the one who told Philo, "Hey, look, she saved that book you gave her all those years ago."
Right, exactly. So I don't think that. Yeah. So I feel like they probably, they might not be together, but they might be working on the same side.
We have the Black Raven,
right? Maybe,
group,
maybe that's, maybe
probably
that's
still in the.
Yeah, maybe right. Maybe it's a good thing that she didn't have to go afoul of their, she's still in their good graces.
Right. As far as we know, right? Yeah, she's working for him.
Yeah. So it's interesting that, I'm curious about the rest of this world, and it's interesting that this story is being created for this show. It doesn't have books that you can be like, what about
I read the
this?
book. I know what happens.
Yeah.
I'm better. I agree. So Carnival Row, it's not a perfect show, but it was interesting. Some world building.
Yeah.
I really liked, especially by the end. I thought those last few episodes really had some nice world building going on. I thought it hit its stride.
Yeah, I'll be happy to see who this new showrunner is.
Yeah.
Because one person I know who was one of the showrunners from this season was Renee Echevarria, who had worked on Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I think has a very good pedigree. So
apparently, the showrunner that they're replacing worked on Arrowverse.
Oh, okay.
I don't know these names. I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm not as crazy about Arrowverse as I was.
Well, that's kind of that was my point too. I
Daredevil.
was like, oh, you're switching out Arrowverse for Daredevil? That sounds like an upgrade. But
Oh, right.
in other words, the
I see, the
Arrowverse
old
person's
one's
leaving.
leaving. Oh, okay.
Daredevil person arriving.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So yeah, that sounds like an upgrade to me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Although it depends on which season.
Good point. So anyway, that is Carnival Row. If you've got some thoughts on what might be coming for season 2, put them in the comments. We'll chat about it. And otherwise, we're back next week talking about Mr. Robot and the first episode of Watchmen of HBO. Looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
So come on back for that. Thanks, everybody.